Hello again, fellow warriors. My name is Tori, and I'm the yoga instructor for Texas A&M Central Texas. And today we're going to be working on lazier versions of yoga. So let's see how we can use these yoga postures to just chill. So, all right, we're going to start, as you would assume, on the mat today. So let's get into our child's pose, which is going to be like our tabletop. We're just going to fold it down, drop the hips to the heels, drop the heart to the knees, drop the forehead heavy to the ground. All right, so child's pose. A good way to make this lazy or chill is to cross the arms right underneath the forehead and then use the forearms as sort of a pillow for your forehead. Okay. So that way we don't have to stretch too far with the arms forward like we're used to. We also don't have to sweep the arms back and just rest on the all that weight on our forehead and our neck. Instead, we get to lift the neck a little bit with this forearm pillow, which will help us relieve a little tension from the upper shoulders and the neck itself. All right, so a little bit more restful in our child's pose today, hopefully feeling something along those lines. All right, but this can't be the whole posture. This can't be the whole practice for us. So let's go ahead and rise into our tabletop. And we'll try the usual, our cat and cow, to warm up the abdominals a little bit. So remember, soft elbows, so that those elbows aren't working too hard and the forearms aren't too stressed already. Level the spine a little bit, and let's inhale, drop the belly button, look forward. Exhale, sweep the belly up and look back. And let's move with our breath. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Awesome. Let's come into our neutral spine. Let's go ahead and walk the hands way out long in front of us. And so we're going to drop the heart. So it will require a little bit of strength in our legs to kind of keep us balanced. But we're going to try and drop our heart heavy. And if keeping the hips right above the knees in our puppy pose does not feel super safe for you, if you feel unbalanced, like you're going to fall, walk the weight back a little bit behind the knees. And that's okay too. It's still puppy pose, just like a puppy dog waking up from a nap. Awesome. Let's take this puppy pose, keep the hands glued to the mat where they are, and let's pull the heart to where the hands are and rest on the mat. So we've got the whole body stretched out here. We've got hands beneath the shoulders. Let's zip the legs together and push the tops of the feet strong into the ground. Let's tuck the elbows in close and lift the heart a little bit off to the mat. Okay, I know this is a little more work than we were expecting for a lazy day, but here we are, holding strong in our back muscles. Okay, and then let's gently release to the mat. Let's rise up to our tabletop. Hopefully we're feeling good. Sorry, one more puppy pose. Okay, now let's make our way to downward facing dog. Push the hips to the sky, the heart to the knees, and since we're intentionally trying to be a little lazy today, leave those knees soft. Okay, push the heart to the knees. Look up from the toes to the ankles, to the knees, to the belly button for a moment. Whew. All right, let's sweep the right leg high behind us. Exhale, bring that right knee forward and plant on the mat beside our right wrist, and then sweep the right foot across the mat to our left side. Heel toe the left foot back until you can plant the kneecap flat, untuck the left toe, and then walk the heart tall for a moment. Okay, we talked about this last time. The important part of our pigeon pose is leveling the hips. So we don't want to roll to that glute way over here and let the other hip just kind of rise up. We're not getting that good stretch here. So try to balance the left hip over the right ankle, or if you're more flexible than me and you can get that right ankle up closer to the left wrist, cool. You don't have to. Okay, don't bully yourself if you're not there today. But we want the left hip above or near that right ankle. We want the right hip holding level with that left side. So we want to be able to keep the hips nice and even, balancing. I know it's work, but let's take away some of the work. Let's drop down to our elbows. And again, like we did in our child's pose, an excellent opportunity here is to cross the forearms and try to drop the forehead onto that pillow. Okay, so we're getting some active stretches here. We're working on our hip flexor on this left side. We're working on our hamstrings and our glutes on our right side. Okay? But when we fold down into our pigeon pose, into our humble place here, we're taking away a lot of the abdominal work, and we're focusing more on the hips and the thighs. All right, big breath. Still keeping those hips balanced as best we can. From our pigeon pose, let's go ahead and rise up. Okay, let's tuck the back toe under, lift the back knee, right foot meets the left foot, soften the knees as you go for downward facing dog today. Pedal out the legs. Awesome. Let's do that on our left side. Let's sweep the left leg high, bring the left knee towards the left wrist, sweep across the mat to our right side, heel toe the right foot back until you can plant the kneecap, untuck the toe. So flat knee, flat foot, ready? Let's rise up a little bit just to see if we can balance those hips nice and even today, okay? I know I blend into my mat a little bit here, but we've got the hip, both of the hips are lifted off of the ground a little bit, okay? Now, if we can find our place to feel a little bit balanced here, let's go ahead and walk the hands forward and fold down into humble pigeon. Maybe just staying at the elbow, but maybe crossing the arms for that forehead pillow. And let's just focus on how the hips feel for a moment. Okay. We notice the stretch in the hip flexor in our right leg as it balances over or near our left ankle. Yeah. And then we notice the stretch in our left hamstring, and our left glute, as it balances, hovers over the mat. Few great breaths in the body. All right. One more great breath here. And when you feel ready, just like we got into the posture, we're going to step by step walk our way out of the posture. Up to our hands, tuck the back toe under, lift the knee. Let's step back and soften both knees for our down dog. Let's pedal out. Okay, ooh, snap, crackling, and popping is okay. Don't be afraid. Now, let's come down to our tabletop. We're gonna set our hands and knees to the mat and remind ourselves to relax the elbows a little bit so the forearms don't feel too tense. Ooh, that's scary. Don't lock out the elbows, that's all I mean. Leave them a little bit soft. All right, so let's go ahead and extend our left toe to the end of the mat behind us and tuck that toe under so that our left leg is long. It's kind of like our shoulders, hips, and heel are in alignment here. So let's go ahead and exhale and push the body weight back into the heel. Kind of like we're pushing that heel to the space or the wall behind us. And this is what I like to call my favorite runner's lunge here. We're not so balancy, we're not so strength-based, we're just stretching, that's all. Focusing on the calf muscle and the back of the thigh. Let's come to neutral and exchange the legs. So we'll extend the right toe way out long, tuck the toe under, push the heart and hips back. And breathe. Breathing is the most important part. It sounds so silly to continue to talk about it, but it is good for us to keep breathing. All right. From my favorite runner stretch, let's come to neutral In fact, let's go ahead and find our seated posture. Bringing our hips to the ground, we can kick the legs way out long in front of us. Okay. We've got the hips rooted and strong in the mat beneath us, but let's go ahead and really soften the knees today because we're taking a break. We're gonna feel lazy, toes to the sky, and we're gonna find a neutral forward fold here. So we've got the spine tall, we've got the shoulders down and back away from the ears. We're just gonna push the heart forward on the exhale and let the hands rest wherever they are comfortable going. The tough part about all these forward folds is getting so caught up in reaching and pulling that we're just rounding our shoulders forward and just hanging in there, you know? So, on the contrary, I would challenge you to keep the shoulders relaxed and work with just the heart. Let the hands come to wherever they're most comfortable without acting as though you're yanking and pulling and such. Okay, let's go ahead and build the spine up tall and proud. Let's go ahead and put a deep bend in the knees so that the soles of the feet are flat before us. And we're gonna get a little bit pretzel here. So I'm gonna turn towards the camera. Okay, let's go ahead and take this right ankle. I may be the opposite of you, the right ankle underneath the left leg. Okay, and we're gonna fold and bring this ankle really close to our hip so that the knee is facing directly in front of us. So like our heart, our belly button, and our knee are pointing straight forward, okay? We're gonna feed the left ankle, the opposite ankle, over that pointed knee, and focus here, if you think you can get the ankle further to drop both knees on top of each other, cool. If you need to keep that ankle in because the hips are not that bendy, flexible today, that is okay. So we have the option to stand the ankle at an angle, or we could try to separate the ankles as far apart as we can and drop the knees on top of each other. Okay, so we've gotten a little crisscrossy here. We're in our, our cow face legs. So let's build the spine up tall. Let's push the heart forward. So remember, we're not rounding down into it. We're not dumping into our shoulders. Keep the spine tall. Just lean a little forward and drop the finger pads to either sides of those knees. So I'm going to challenge what we're doing with our spinal extension, including the neck here. So we've already got the heart extending forward. Let's go ahead and start to tuck the chin to the chest, but only as if, let's imagine, that we have dropped something on the ground and it has rolled underneath our knees. So it's like we're tucking the chin to the chest, but it feels like we're trying to look beyond those knees. You may not need that much description, but I like being descriptive, so that's what we're going for. Looking around the edge of the knees. Okay. So we've got our cow face legs. Now here we're experiencing a big stretch on the outer thigh and the outer hip. And let's go ahead and inhale, rise back up. Once we've risen back up, we may feel less intensity in that stretch, and that's because we're not extending that stretch from the outer thigh to the outer hip all the way up to the lower back. Now we're kind of easing up on that stretch. Okay, so let's go for the opposite forward fold. Let's go ahead and unwind both legs. One at a time. Let's kick the heels out, wobble out the knees, roll the ankles all crazy like for a moment. All right, let's bend those knees, heels flat before us, and let's lead on the opposite side. So I'm going to do the opposite of you guys. Let's go ahead and bring our left leg across. Let's go ahead and try and fold that left heel really close to our right hip, if we can. So we want the heart, the belly button, and the knee pointing towards the front of our room. Hips are still level here, nice and even. Okay, let's step across our front knee and we'll decide if we need to stand at an angle or if we can drop down. Totally up to you. You're going to get a good stretch on that lower leg either way. It just depends on how much intensity you can take, stretching both hips and both thighs at the same time. Okay. That's all that depends on if you want to drop that knee or not. Okay, so wherever you find yourself in cow face legs, you build up the spine, and you relax those shoulders back. Okay, let's push the heart forward. We're gonna intensify that stretch a little bit, so we're gonna move slow. Drop the finger pads to the mat so that we don't feel like we have to go very far. But we're gonna involve the neck in this stretch again. So it's like we're tucking our chin to the chest, but really we're imagining that we've dropped something. We're looking beyond the edge of that knee to find it. Okay? And this fold intensifies that outer IT band stretch that we're getting. So, if we're feeling way too much, that's okay. Rise back up to seated and just remain for as long as you're comfortable. Okay, step out of the posture if you need to. Pause, take a break, or skip it entirely if it's just too much. Okay. Let's go ahead and rise back up into our tall spine. Let's unwind the legs one at a time again. Kick out those heels, wobble the knees, roll the ankles for a moment, reset, reset. All right, let's bring the soles of the feet together, knees in our diamond shape. We have our butterfly posture. So you may need to readjust the tailbone a little bit to get the flesh of the glutes out of the way so that the hip bones can really connect to the ground beneath us. And again, you guessed it, we're gonna build up the spine tall, drop those shoulders down and away. When you're ready, push the heart forward. And I would like to encourage maybe experimenting with dropping the elbows onto the knee. And that's gonna help kind of intensify the stretch a little bit without pushing. Okay, we just use that extra gravity from the weight of the arms. I guess there's no extra gravity, technically, if you want to get technical, but the weight of the arms will help weigh down the knees a little bit without force. Okay, from our butterfly, let's go ahead and rise up into our tall spine. Let's stand those knees to the sky, soles of the feet are flat. So I'm going to turn back around on my mat. Okay, let's recline. So let's release the spine all the way back down, leaving the knees standing to the sky for a bit longer. We're going to relax the shoulders down away from the ears. Make sure the whole spine feels as though it's partly connected. I know that the curves of the spine kind of prevent some spots from feeling totally connected, and that's okay. Just kind of let gravity take over here without resistance. We just kind of sink into the mat. Okay, let's start to rock and roll the hips a little bit side to side. By no means moving far. We're not moving fast. Just a little side to side. Okay. Now, when you feel ready, let's come to neutral and let's try setting the feet to the edges of the mat so the feet are now way outside of hip distance. Knees are still standing to the sky, and now we will again rock and roll side to side. But the knees are going to be working more independently this time, so you can kind of get a good idea focusing on the thigh muscles and the hips, maybe even the abdominal muscles. It's easier for you to identify how the stretches feel when you move, when you twist. Okay. Maybe one leg seems to be having more trouble than the other. Maybe it's the hamstrings today. Maybe it's the quads on the front of the thigh. Maybe it's the tailbone that you didn't notice before. Just kind of take inventory of what you're sensing here in the body. Okay, let's come to neutral, knees to the sky. Let's go ahead and prop the knees against each other in the middle of the mat and just let the feet stay wide. This is our broken bridge pose, really good for relieving back pain, back tension, if we stay here for a little while. So let's help that process out a little bit. Try stretching the arms way up tall overhead. Like you've got a water bottle on the ground and now you want to hang on to it. So you're reaching overhead for an object just out of range. That's going to curl up the low of your back a little. You're going to feel an arch rise off of the mat. And then let's go ahead and exhale, and we'll do what I call sunrise, sunset. So we'll exhale and release the hands all the way down, like a sun rising and a sun setting. Okay. Great breath in the body. Awesome. Let's bring the soles of the feet closer together in the middle of the mat. Let's scoop the right knee up over the chest and just kind of hug that knee towards our heart for a moment. Really hug. Bring it in. Okay. Let's see how we feel going for a number 4 stretch here. We're going to cross that right ankle over the left knee. And so we're trying to meet strong bone with strong bone. So we want the shin bone crossing the thigh bone specifically. We don't want to rest on the ankle and dump that knee down. We want to protect the ankle by crossing strong bone with strong bone and pushing the right thigh a little bit away. Okay, and now our legs look like the top of a number 4. Flip-flopped, upside down, however you want to describe it. Okay, from this number 4 shape, let me line it up again. Okay, let's go for our reclined pigeon pose, lifting the left foot off of the mat. We can reach to support that left thigh. And we can stay right here. This is reclined pigeon pose. The tough part of pigeon pose is the driving urge to shrink those shoulders up and peel the back of the head up just to reach. If it's that much trouble today, don't put yourself through that much trouble. Let the back of the head rest and let the shoulders relax. If you need to let go of that thigh, or if you just need to stay on number 4 today, that's okay. Remember, we're trying to be chill. We're trying to be restful. Okay, but if you are in reclined pigeon and you want to kind of explore a little bit, you could try a tall leg, a pointed toe, a flexed heel. You could bring the heel real close. All right, and we're going to go to the opposite side. So we'll drop the left foot, we'll drop the right foot, and then we'll bring the left knee up to the chest and we'll just hug it really close and point it towards our heart. Maybe we'll give it a couple of different tries to bring it in. But when you're ready, we'll cross that left ankle over the top of the right knee. And we'll try to cross shin bone over the thigh bone. Okay, so we've got our number 4 shape. We can push the left knee away. We can hang on to this for a few more moments. Of course, you can stay here. You never have to go to the next posture. If it just doesn't feel right for you, you could just stay here. But if you're curious and you want to try that reclined pigeon pose on the side as well, let's go ahead and lift the right leg off of the mat. Try to support that right thigh. Okay, and you can explore whatever part of pigeon pose that you like, or reclined pigeon pose that you like best. So we did regular pigeon pose earlier, and I know this looks very different from that one, but we're still stretching the same part of the body in that front leg, that lifted leg. Okay. We can explore reclined options and variations if we want. But we want the back of the head resting, and we want the shoulders heavy to the earth. Okay. And in our reclined pigeon's pose, we'll take 2 more breaths. And then we'll go ahead and release one foot to the ground and then the other. And for final relaxation today, let's be really stretched out. So let's drop one ankle all the way out to the end of one corner of the mat, and then drop the other ankle way out wide to another corner. Okay, remind yourself to relax those shoulders down a little bit. Long neutral neck, looking straight up at the sky. And just breathe for a few moments. Like before, I've mentioned, when we're trying to rest, really focus on drawing out that exhale as long as you can. You can stay here as long as you like. You can keep focusing on that breath. But if you're ready, you can go ahead and roll to a favorite side and begin to rise up. All right, so we'll find any seated posture that we like. We could come to happy pose. We could come to butterfly. We could keep the legs way out long. As long as we're able to really root down and balance those hips strong in the ground. We'll build up the spine tall and proud. We'll relax the shoulders a little bit. All right. And it's at this time at the end of our practice today that I'd like to thank you for choosing to share your time and your practice with me here. And again, it is the light within me that honors and bows to the light within you. Namaste.